In this video, our strain gauge technician Andy will be explaining how to put a strain gauge down, test the resistance, and finish the strain gauge so it is ready to be placed onto the desired equipment or apparatus. Strain gauges are small devices used to measure strain on an object by converting force, pressure, tension and weight into a change in electrical resistance. Because they are small and valuable measurement devices, care and attention needs to be taken when assembling in order to maintain their proper functionality. Before assembling your strain gauge, ensure you have a clean work area and place all needed assembly equipment within reaching distance. First, put a reasonable amount of M-Prep conditioner onto the substrate, object you are attaching the strain gauge to, and using silicon carbide paper, clean the area. This process makes sure the glue will stick to the substrate and strain gauge properly, and it takes away all the dirt on the substrate. Clean off the conditioner using gauze and wipe from the inside outwards. By doing this outwards motion, you are not bringing any dirt back in, because if you let the liquid dry, it shrinks into the middle and pulls all the dirt into the centre of the substrate. Equally with the neutralizer, which is the next step, if you do not dry off the liquid as it's evaporating, it draws the dirt back into the middle of the substrate. Put a reasonable amount of M-Prep neutralizer onto the substrate, otherwise the strain gauge will not stick. Take your cotton wool swabs and thoroughly clean the substrate. It has acid on it, and if this is not cleaned off, the strain gauge will peel off. Wipe the neutralizer off with new gauze in an outwards motion. The substrate is now conditioned and prepped. Follow the same cleaning process with the neutralizer on the glass plate, and then wipe outwards any excess liquid, leaving the plate dry. We use a glass plate as this is the easiest thing to keep clean when assembling strain gauges. The plate is used to first assemble the strain gauge before being glued onto the substrate. On the glass plate, lift and place the solder tag using the tweezers. Make sure you do not touch the solder tag when you take it out of the protective packaging. Again, using tweezers, carefully remove the strain gauge from the protective packaging and place this on top of the solder tag. The tag needs to be below to attach the wires on top when it's placed on the substrate, and it stops any accidental pulling on the gauge legs. It pulls at the tag first, before anything else. Add mylar tape on top of the strain gauge, making sure the tape is flattened against it, and then cut the excess tape with the scalpel. Hold the tape at a shallow angle so you do not put creases into the strain gauge, and place this onto the substrate. Make sure you do not touch the strain gauge, just the tape. Using the tape at a shallow angle again, pull this backwards until the strain gauge is slightly off the substrate. Using the glue, but not touching anything, just let the glue drip onto the substrate. Anything that touches the strain gauge will contaminate it. Holding the substrate up, move the tape slightly in a slow motion to make sure the glue covers all of the strain gauge. With clean gauze, along with the tape, use this to help you slowly place the strain gauge back down onto the substrate. Hold this down with your finger for around 1 minute. The heat from your finger will mould the glue and strain gauge together. Pulling the tape straight back on itself slowly, remove the tape until you get to the strain gauge legs. Then using a scalpel, cut the legs off. Remove the rest of the tape. Cut a small piece of soft adhesive tape or masking tape, which is used to protect the gauge while soldering, and place this over the strain gauge. Now get the soldering iron and solder the gauge legs to the solder tag. Now that the strain gauge is down on the substrate, we can test the resistance. This is a 350 ohm gauge, so the reading should resemble this. Now to add the wires. Strip the wire, then add a small amount of solder to the ends. Then attach the wires to the strain gauge using the soldering iron and the solder already put onto the gauge. The strain gauge is now finished, but will need cleaning up. With rosin solvent, clean off the flux glue and paper. If you do not clean off the flux, you might get skewed readings, because flux will conduct if any residue remains, and if you try and remove the paper another way, it could pull the insides of the gauge out. Using a toothpick, place the epoxy glue over the tip of the wires. This holds the wires down in case anyone accidentally pulls anything. Wait a minute for the glue to dry, then place silicone over the entire strain gauge, spreading it evenly with the clean toothpick. Again, try not to touch the gauge with either the silicone tube or the toothpick. Then clean the edges with a cotton bud and leave to dry. Here's the finished strain gauge. We hope you found this video useful, and if you did, give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see more content from TechQuipment. Thanks for watching.